Good evening, one and all. It's really been a while, hasn't it? Nevertheless, here we are. I know it's been a really long time since last I posted a video. Unfortunately, this past month was kind of hectic, so I didn't really get a chance to post a new review. However, this will soon be remedied, I assure you. Today, I want to talk to you about the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, just kind of hit the ground running. This film came out a few months ago. It was out by Netflix, and it's written and directed by the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan Coen. It's a really interesting film in the sense that it's not really cohesive. It's not one whole. It's basically six stories that are seemingly not connected, the one with the other, except for the fact that they are all set in the Wild West, that tackle their own unique and various themes. Some of the stories are considerably shorter than others, and most of them are, well, actually, in my opinion, they're all very enjoyable. And overall, this is a very interesting film to watch. Even though I'm not personally a fan of the Western genre, this is quite a unique take on it. I must be honest. Some of these stories are actually quite profound in their thematic content and the way in which they deal with these themes. Uh, Now, there are things in this film that might throw one off. If you're not a fan of the Western genre, you might not enjoy this particular film. However, it should not deter you that it is a Western because, like I said, it has a lot of variety. And especially the last story, well, I mean, that's just brilliant, even if it is a Western. So for that one story alone, I could not recommend this film highly enough. But let's take. But I would also like to talk about the film's greatest aspect, which I think is in its screenplay. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the Coen brothers' work, they are fantastic writers. They have a very unique ear for catching dialogue and the intricacies of the various accents in the US. And of course, the Ballad of Buster Scruggs is no exception. You will come across a vast variety of accents, uh, some of them quite funny. In fact, the film, I do recommend that you watch this movie with subtitles on because sometimes it can be difficult to understand what they're saying. But it is nevertheless highly enjoyable. Just how finely crafted, how detailed the dialogue in this film is, the accents, the way each person expresses his or her point of view within the film, within the confines of their stories. And there's one particular story where the dialogue isn't at all a key factor, especially mainly because the story revolves around one character doing one specific task throughout, but it's in the little things that he says throughout, and of course through body language, which the Coen brothers also know how to deal with and how to direct it properly in order to convey the proper emotions. It's from these minute details that you really get a sense of the time period of what these people are thinking of the machine working behind their head. So I think that's one of the main reasons that you should watch this film, just how brilliant the screenplay is. And I think that since the Oscars are also coming up, I think that the film did receive a nomination for Best Adapted Screenplay. I'm not really sure that it's going to get it, but I do think that it at least deserves the recognition it has received. That being said, another interesting thing to note is relationship the brothers have with music in their films. Usually, it's not the main thing one would notice, but I did appreciate the musical numbers in the first story of this film. The first story is actually the funniest. Some people that I've talked to who've seen this film say it's the weakest. I think it's very enjoyable. I think it's one of the one of the most enjoyable stories in the film, and I do like the story that it tells, and I also really enjoy the musical numbers. I mean, they're very well choreographed. The lyrics are great, and this proves my point about the Coen brothers understanding the point, the real point of country music. Now, I'm not a real fan of country music being the American version of folk songs, for example. But I find it to be much poorer in essence, at least the way it's been done, the way it's being done now. But country music in those days was really, they were telling a story. If you listen to some of those older songs, it's really about their struggle in trying to colonize new areas and trying to survive. It's really something unique in terms of lyrics, at least. The Coen brothers understand this, and you can see this throughout that first episode, the way they use their lyrics in order to create these new songs, which are based on the old country songs of the West. And so overall, in at least for me personally, excuse the stutter, the film is a fascinating study on the way the West developed throughout step by step. And I mean, how usually one takes it for granted that it's been there, it's always been there, but no, this movie shows you how much things have changed and how bad these people had it, what a struggle it was to survive, to make a living, to build a community, to stay together and build a homestead. It was a different world altogether. It was a different way of life. It was a different philosophy of life altogether back in those days. Something that is not really mirrored in many Western films, at least in my opinion. And so, for these reasons alone, I cannot recommend this film highly enough. I think it is a very enjoyable experience. I think it's one of the better films that the Coen brothers have made in the past decade, in this decade and in the past decade. And yes, so it's on Netflix. So if you do have Netflix, please watch it. You will have a good time, and you will see something in many ways unique, something that you probably haven't seen before, done in this particular manner. I mean, yes, it is a Western, but it's not your typical Clint Eastwood or Sergio Leone Western. It's something else. It's something far more personal. It's something it goes deeper towards the roots of the Old West than any Western I have seen. And so, for all those reasons, I do recommend that you watch it. I am sure that you will enjoy it. And please stay tuned. Further videos will be coming soon. And for the present, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Have a great day, and we'll see each other soon. Bye.